What's going on, guys? Welcome to the commentary. So I want to kind of walk you guys through what my game plan is for the next, couple months, rest of the summer, because after I did the show I kind of needed to reassess my training goals since I'm not training to cut anymore. I'm not trying to lose weight, I'm trying to slowly gain back weight, gain strength on key movements like my bench press, my squat, and my deadlift. Those are the three things I'm going to be working on. So I want to walk you through what I was doing in this workout and give you a commentary. So the first clip you're going to see is me doing squats, and you might say, oh my gosh, he's only doing 225, he's not going to make any gains, what's he doing, that's such a light weight. First thing I want to say about that is I've had some hip problems in the past with my squats, and I kind of did like a twisting at the bottom because one hamstring was tighter than the other pretty much, so it would just cause me a twist at the bottom, giving me a lot of hip and low back pain. So I'm doing a really light weight here, trying to perfect the form so that I'm not going to have to fix it later in the long run when I'm doing super heavy weight. So I'm taking it easy, kind of perfecting my form, almost being too careful right now, because I'd rather be careful now and perfect it now instead of having to fix it later in the long run. So that's the first thing that I did today. So the second clip you're going to see of me doing squats is going to be from the side, and what I want to talk about this is something called bar path. So whenever you're squatting, deadlifting, even bench pressing you almost want the bar to just go straight up and down, and the reason for that is because any movement out of that plane of motion is just going to be extra work for your body, and it's going to be less efficient. So on this clip you're going to see that I'm really trying to keep the bar path just straight up and down. Sometimes at the bottom of the movement you can come forwards like this if you're super tight and you're not pushing your butt back like you should on a squat. So that's the reason for this angle. So a tip for these is really make sure you're pushing your butt back as you're squatting down and not just coming forward on your knees. So that's really going to keep the bar path nice and straight. Then the next exercise I did was some incline dumbbell press, and on these I actually had to go pretty light because I ended up benching the day before and it was a pretty heavy bench day, and I still wanted to bench today because my split was all thrown off because I went on vacation with a friend, but I still wanted to get all the lifts in, so I just kind of had to do them back to back. Just like really all my movements right now, I'm trying to perfect and get the form dialed in to minimize risk of injury, because I've had a lot of shoulder problems, I've had some hip problems. I actually just got diagnosed with tendonitis and bursitis in the shoulder, so that's what my shoulder problems have been. So I'm trying to slow down all these movements and almost pausing at the bottom and it's going super slow, making sure I'm feeling it in my chest and not my shoulders. And also on the incline dumbbell press, I want to mention that it's very easy for your anterior delt, this one right here, to take over during the movement. So the reason I'm doing a lighter weight on this too is because I want to make sure I'm feeling it here. So I'm literally thinking about squeezing with my chest, pushing with my chest, and trying to take this out of it. Obviously you can't do that 100%, but think about chest, think about squeezing your. And I also supersetted pull-ups with the incline dumbbell presses, and for pull-ups my main tip is to try and put the majority of the weight on this side of your hand, and the reason for that is the more you incorporate this side of your hand, or these fingers as well, these two right here, into the movement, it's going to bring more of your biceps into it. Dang, look at that half natty lighting right there. Wow! It's going to bring more of your biceps into it, so I like to try and take that out and really focus on just squeezing the back. So kind of rotate this side of your hand down at the top. Obviously you can't because it's stuck on the bar, but just kind of think about rotating your wrist like that, and it'll really help emphasize your lat. And also at the top, I see a lot of people coming up from their pull-ups and then they bring their shoulders up like this, like a shrug. What you really want to do is keep them locked down and come from there the whole time. You don't want to come up and then shrug up. You're gonna just increase your risk for injury pretty much. And also with pull-ups, you might have noticed that I kind of cross my legs and then have them in front of my torso a little bit. And the reason for that is when you have your legs or your knees raised up a little bit and in front of your torso, that kind of helps engage your core, so your back isn't all arched like this. Keep everything nice and tight, and then that's going to help actually help you do more weight. I've found whenever I'm doing weighted pull-ups and things like that, it's a lot easier when you have your legs slightly up, engage the core, and you can pull a lot more weight that way because you're more supported instead of just kind of like a loose bungee cord or something. So the next superset I did was T-bar rows and an incline cable fly. And when I say incline, I was just standing up, but it's kind of an incline motion coming from low to high like this, and it's really emphasizing that upper pec. So on the T-bar rows, the thing I was emphasizing was my traps, and I was trying to think about squeezing my traps back every time I rode, because I've noticed that that's a part that's underdeveloped on me. And every time you're going to bring your shoulder blades back, that's really going to activate your traps much more than if you're just rowing, using all your lats and not really thinking about contracting your mid back and squeezing the shoulder blades together. So that's what I focused on this. I tried to do some pauses, but I found that the first 3 reps of every set I kind of forgot, and then I remembered. I was like, oh yeah, okay. So I slowed it down and then paused at the top like that to help increase the muscle activation in my traps. And then for the incline cable flies, I don't really do anything special on these, but one thing that has helped me lately, since I feel like this shoulder kind of makes me off balance and I feel lopsided sometimes because of the problems I have with it. So when I'm doing these, any fly movement where you're standing, really think about bracing your core, pretend like someone's going to punch you and brace, and then that's going to keep you nice and tight and make sure you're not twisted one way or the other. Especially when you have a staggered stance like this, like I'm doing with these, it can really get easy to turn yourself slightly one way or the other. One thing I like to think about on these is bringing my pinkies up. So come in here, bringing the pinkies up. Don't just bring them in like a normal fly, almost like a front raise. So pinkies up and in, and really think about squeezing this upper chest right here. That's a really hard place to activate, so you really have to physically and mentally think about, okay, this is a part of my body that I'm using, not my shoulders. So the last movement I did today was a straight arm pull down on the cable machine, and I really like using these for my lats. I feel them really in my lower lats specifically, but basically what you're going to want to do for these is almost get into an RDL stance with your butt pushed back, soft knees. I use the easy bar semi-pronated grip on the outside, and keep your elbows nice and soft. You don't want to have them locked out. Soft elbows, and keep that angle the whole time as you're coming down. You don't want to straighten out at the bottom because that's going to make your triceps take over. So really pause and squeeze at the bottom, bring your shoulder blades back, squeeze the shoulder blades. I can't think of a single back movement where you don't want to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Another thing I briefly want to talk about in this commentary is actually kind of what my training cycle is going to look like for the next couple months. As I said before, I'm going to focus on increasing my strength, and the way that I'm going to do that, or how that's going to look, is I'm going to be working on my bench, my squat, and my deadlift. So how this is going to look is I'm just going to be slowly increasing my volume over the coming weeks, increasing my frequency as I start to get more used to my squat, because I haven't done that in a while. I hate to say it, during the last week of prep I didn't squat or deadlift. I feel like kind of a heathen for saying that, but oh well, just judge me, it's fine. You really don't need to shock the muscle or anything to grow. Sometimes you just need to have a plan of action, and if it's slow and steady, honestly, sometimes that's the best way to go. People think that you're going to gain 50 pounds on your bench in 1 week just by training to failure, and that's just so not true. So I'm just going to focus on slow, steady progression, and this is my 2nd week of doing this type of program. Oh god. Working out just really gets to me. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so this is my 2nd week of working on regaining my strength and using this programming, and I've already hit a rep PR. Before my prep, I can only do 185 for 8 on bench. Honestly, bench is kind of my poverty lift, and this last week I hit 190 for 10, and that's coming out of a cut where I was extremely weak. So honestly, pretty excited for the next coming weeks to see what's going to happen and how my strength is going to increase. So you guys can follow me along with that. Yeah, hopefully this helped you guys. Just kind of the basic reasoning why I did some of these movements, and some tips and tricks on how I incorporate these movements in my own training. I'll see you guys later. Fisher Fitness signing out.